You look at the movie Contagion, I think it was 2011. Preemptive programming. They preempt something to put it into the subconscious mind, even the conscious mind, through Hollywood, and then suddenly it kind of happens for real. This hysteria gives the excuse to do what they're doing, and the outcome and the consequences of what they're doing is to dismantle the world economic system. I was sent a document from 2010 that was published by the Rockefeller Foundation. Now, this document was about a scenario involving a flu pandemic, and it described what would happen. That China would use authoritarian, draconian methods to meet the challenge, and then the West wouldn't basically start like that, but then would become the same. And this whole global lockdown was described in this document 6 weeks before the virus came to light in China. We had something called Event 201. This was a simulation of a virus which involved the World Economic Forum, which has its meeting every year in Davos. This is the 1%. And they ran this simulation called Event 201, in which they simulated news reports. They were discussing, oh, what can we do? And there was a whole area of this simulation where they're discussing how they control information. And they're saying, how do we deal with the anti-vaxxers? How do we make sure that the official narrative of the is the one that's dominating the internet and all these lines of communication, and not what they call conspiracy theories, putting another point of view? And all these things that they talked about in this scenario have happened. We've had Facebook and Google saying that they're going to make sure that, first of all, the World Health Organization version gets free advertisements, and they're going to suppress the other opinion, what they call conspiracies and what have you, and disinformation and fake news. Who decides if it is? They do. Videos taken down purely by AI, algorithm. All these things that were decided in this Gates World Economic Forum 1% simulation 6 weeks before they should happen are happening.
Or you got the report about it? Okay.
No, I read the actual document of the Rockefeller Foundation and its scenario, which is exactly what's played out. But the Event 201 simulation was filmed. You can see it on the internet.
And now they're running that playbook right now.
Exactly the same. Another thing is that at the same time that simulation was taking place, 10,000 military personnel and support staff were attending the World Military Games in Wuhan, China. If we're not going to be scammed and just believe the official narrative, we have to explore possibilities. And another possibility is that that World Military Games was a wonderful front to release some kind of virus in that same area. So all these things are something that have to be explored and put into the mix. Because what happens if you only believe the official version of everything is the official solution for the problem you believe in is going to take us further and further down the road to a society that would make George Orwell bloody wince. And all the things that I've said this cult wants, this cult is getting as a result of this.
Okay.
And so when you look in the global average and in most other countries, the number of people who are seriously affected by this against all those who are not, the way the whole economic system is being shut down is. And what happens when it reaches a point where in its present state it cannot continue, it cannot survive? A whole new economic system comes in. which is the one this cult wants. And I'll tell you another thing. I've been going on for years and years and years about the fact that the idea of human caused climate change is a joke. It's a hoax. And people say, why would they hoax climate change? You look at all the solutions to climate change, and again and again and again, they are exactly the same solutions and consequences as with the... What did Prince Charles say at Davos? He said by 2030, this year that keeps coming up all over the place from all directions, we need a new global economic system, economic order to meet the challenge of climate change. What have I been writing for 30 years? This cult wants to transform the world economic order into this technocratic, AI-controlled tyranny. And both the coronavirus and the climate change hoax are providing the, I would say in many ways, the illusion of the problem, not least with human-caused climate change, to offer the solution of exactly what they want, which is a transformed, centrally controlled, AI-controlled world economic system, which will not have mom-and-pop businesses anymore. It won't have small businesses. What I keep coming back to is the effect on the health of the overwhelming vast majority, which have immune systems that just basically slap it aside. And it's this small group of elderly people who, for reasons I've described, have weakened immune systems, and those who have other health conditions and therefore weakened immune systems, they're the ones in danger. So if you focused everything on them, and if necessary, isolate them and focus your resources on them so no one goes hungry and no one is in need, but the rest of the population, 80%, very mild symptoms or no symptoms, others with moderate symptoms, well, are we going to destroy the world economic system by saying that those people also have to isolate and not go to work? For me, that's crazy. Focus on those who are in danger. Throw everything at them. Cocoon them if necessary. But cocoon them with fairness and with compassion and with total support. But the rest of the population, I got exactly the same symptoms, I repeat, before Christmas. And I carried on working. Weren't pleasant for 2 or 3 days, coughed some stuff up and all that. But you get on with it. And this is happening to people all the time. I'll give you an analogy. Years ago, you might remember this, we used to have a thing called weather. And weather used to change, and there used to be storms, and there used to be, strong weather situations. And we used to call it weather. Now, every time that happens, as it's always happened, now it's climate change, we're all gonna die. And what we have now is the version of that. Everything is... We don't even know if so many people have been logged as having had it, actually have it. When you're testing, like I said earlier, on symptoms, well, these symptoms are true of many different things. Who says this person's got it or this person hasn't got it? We don't know. The point is, they're not dying from it. They're not even, most of them, being affected more than very mild symptoms. So why are we locking them away and bringing down the world economic system and destroying people's businesses, livelihoods, ability to pay the rent? Why are we doing that and not just focusing totally on those who could have a serious problem because of their immune system deficiencies? I'll tell you why. Because if they carried on and allowed that to happen, the world economic system would not be demolished. And the idea is to demolish it so you can replace it. Problem, reaction, solution. That's why.